Tonight on KGW News.
Welcome to Jurassic Retreat.
A local Airbnb for the kid in all of us.
It's like my childhood dream coming to fruition.
Where you can stay among the dinosaurs. Plus, Oregon's changing ocean, the species that are disappearing off our coast. And car break-ins aren't just happening in the big city.
It's a crying shame, especially in this area.
St Helens is hit with a string of thefts. Your news starts now. First at 11, researchers in Oregon are on the lookout for the new COVID variant Omicron. Thank you for joining us. I'm Laurel Porter. It has been detected in Canada and Europe since it was first reported in Africa. The World Health Organization says there is a very high risk it will spread to other parts of the globe. Pat Doris shows us how OHSU is ready to detect it if it pops up here.
The new variant is not yet known to be in the United States, but 2 cases in Canada were reported late Sunday. It's unusual and different from the others because it has at least 30 mutations, including many on that spike protein that it uses to enter our cells. Dr. William Messer is a researcher at Oregon Health and Sciences University and deeply involved in tracking the virus.
Now I think we should be vigilant. I think we should do what we know works, which is vaccination, distancing inside, mask wearing, particularly in high-risk settings, remains to a practice that works for all the variants.
Omicron was first reported in South Africa, but cases now also exist in Europe and Asia and Australia. It's unclear how fast it spreads or how effective our current vaccines are against it. But everyone, from President Biden to Dr. Messer, say those vaccines are still your best bet for protection.
Vaccination remains far and away the most likely to be helpful way to protect yourself against this variant.
The tale of how this variant got its name is interesting. Last May, the World Health Organization decided to start naming variants after letters in the Greek alphabet to take away the stigma from countries where they were first discovered. The UK variant, for example. This current variant is the 13th of interest or concern that gets a letter. So going down the list, the 13th letter is pronounced new, but the WHO skipped that because it sounds too much like, new, as in the first time we've seen it, which they kind of thought was confusing. And the next letter, Xi, is a common last name for a lot of people around the world. So on to the 15th letter, said WHO, which is how we got Omicron. Back to our area, OHSU is gearing up its lab to catch any samples that might pass through.
Yes, we are. I was actually just got off our call 5 minutes before talking to you, where we were discussing strategies for this. So there are a couple of.
Dr. Messer said it will be relatively easy to spot because when run through a standard PCR test, Omicron causes an unusual reaction, the same way the UK variant did. Sorry, England. The lab can test about 1,000 samples a week, so if or when Omicron arrives, we should know it relatively quickly. And with some of these past incidents, I remember thinking, wow, that sounds a little bit scary. I hope it doesn't end up here. And then, it always ends up here. Is it just a matter of time, you think, before this variant ends up in Oregon?
Yeah, it is. I think we do a lot of predicting the future based on past experience. And like you said, every other variant has made it here over time. And I think it's highly likely that this variant will make it here as well.
Pat Doris, KGW News.
The Oregon Health Authority is offering financial incentives to pharmacies with the goal of getting more Oregonians vaccinated. Right now, 80% of adults in the state have had at least the first dose. According to the Statesman Journal, the OHA will pay pharmacies $35 for each new COVID vaccine they give. The money could help pharmacies hire employees to deal with demand for the vaccine. Another program will help pay for temporary pharmacists to address staffing shortages. That program is only available to independently owned pharmacies. Developing tonight, police are looking for a group of car prowlers that hit the town of St Helens this weekend. There are more than a dozen reports of break-ins. Our Mike Benner talked to one of the victims.
James Hurt has lived near the corner of Jacoby Street and Ethan Lane in St. Helens for about 4 years. He describes the neighborhood as mellow and family-friendly.
Up until yesterday, it felt safe.
That's when James noticed somebody had been inside his car. The glove box ransacked. He says his girlfriend's wallet was stolen and the garage door opener used to access his garage.
Well, it's one door, and then you're standing in my kitchen, and, that's, my kids and I are asleep upstairs,
James says he felt attacked and victimized, and it turns out he's not alone. Since early Sunday morning, St. Helens police have taken more than a dozen reports of vehicle break-ins in at least 5 different neighborhoods. We're told at least 2 cars have been stolen, one from this property on Parkwood Drive.
It's a crying shame, especially in this area.
Jim Jennings took a break from hanging Christmas decorations to tell us nobody deserves to be a victim of car prowlers, even if their cars were unlocked, as detectives indicated.
A lot of people around here work hard every day just so they could have something. And then some lowlife comes out and takes it. So, it's not good.
James Hurt agrees. He's hoping officers are able to track down the bad guys.
It'd be nice to know that they were caught and that that's the people who did it.
Authorities say there could be up to 5 suspects operating out of a white SUV. If you know anything about them or believe you're a victim, you're asked to contact the St. Helens Police Department. In the meantime, you're urged to park your car in the garage or behind a locked gate. If it has to stay outside, make sure it's locked and parked in a well-lit area. Reporting in St. Helens, I'm Mike Benner for KGW News.
The Portland Thorns have formally named their new head coach and are set to introduce her at a news conference tomorrow. Rian Wilkinson will lead the team going into the 2022 season. She's a former Canadian international player and most recently served as an assistant coach with the England women's national team. Wilkinson retired as a player in 2017. She appeared in several World Cups and Olympic Games, winning bronze twice. She also played 1 game for the Thorns in 2015. The Portland Trail Blazers were on the road at Utah tonight. The Blazers have one of the worst road records in the league, and they didn't do anything to change that tonight. The Jazz opened a big lead in the 3rd quarter, then held off a rally by Portland. Utah wins it 129-107. Portland falls to 1-10 on the road this year. The Blazers, thankfully, are at home against Detroit tomorrow. This next story will make you feel like you're in a movie. At least that's the goal behind a new Airbnb. Catherine Cook has the story from Washougal.
In the woods of Washougal, shrouded in mystery and mist, is a place where one man's dream is now reality.
Welcome to Jurassic Retreat.
The dream and Airbnb belong to Todd Perkins.
Yeah, that's an apatosaurus. It's about 56 feet long and about 18 feet tall.
The 5 animatronic dinosaurs that live here are also his.
My son named this one Sarah. So the Triceratops.
For safety reasons, they're all female.
They're all
but you know
female.
how the story goes.
But life finds a way.
All right.
Perkins just hopes guests will find their way here.
Like we just opened.
For an experience he hopes they'll never forget.
Kind of like in that original movie, and you see that long neck, and you're like, it's a dinosaur, like you have that same feeling. And so that's what I hope, that people have that same feeling and then create those memories with their family.
Perkins lives in Tri-Cities, Washington. He's a business owner and entrepreneur. But clearly,
this was me when I was 5 years old.
He's always loved dinosaurs.
Because it's like my childhood dream coming to fruition.
Perkins closed on this house 4 months ago. Then, with help from family members, hauled all 5 of these girls 3.5 hours down the gorge and into place.
I'm just happy that it's done. I really am.
There is so much attention to detail here. Unfortunately, this rebar is not charged, but everything feels so real. Especially the velociraptor. Clever girl.
Some details are so nerdy.
Inside the house, you'll find a nod to the movie in every room, from the professor's quarters to the bathroom.
We have a 75-inch TV where you can watch those movies and then look out the window and actually see dinosaurs while you're watching the movie in real life.
Not bad for a childhood dream.
I've always had ideas.
For the child in all of us. In Washougal, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
I'm just thinking about what that must have looked like when they were transporting all those dinosaurs down the highway there. That's going to be so popular. Right now, the Jurassic Retreat starts at about $300 a night, but the price will vary depending on demand.